Hi everybody. So I'm Penny Thresher from Corner House Words, and today I'm talking to my lovely friend and colleague Judy Monks. So I want to take you back to a sunny day in July 2020, and I was sitting in the Audi car park here in Morecambe where I live, waiting for my very pregnant daughter to do her shopping. And my phone rang, and on the end of the phone there was this lovely lady, Judy, who I know from a previous existence as a Pampered Chef consultant. I was working in direct marketing, um, and Julie was on the corporate team, and we knew each other vaguely, didn't we? You weren't actually my upline, but I knew her at conferences and things. And so, why did you ring me that day, Julie?
Why did I ring you? Well, I've been toying with the idea of writing a book probably for 10 years or more. And I think, we were in lockdown and I think I'd started a little bit of it.
It was 2020, so yeah, we've been in lockdown for a few months, yeah.
We had. So I sort of, in the past, I sort of written a few chapters here and there. And one day I thought I was listening to Abraham Hicks, funny enough, and I kept thinking, oh, I need to write this book. It had been on my mind for a long time. And I'd done, like I say, done these few chapters. And then all of a sudden I heard her say, just write the damn book. And I thought, ooh, that's it. I've got to write the book. And then the next thing I saw on Facebook was I thought Penny Thresher's starting Corner House Words and that you were editing books. And I thought, well, that's if that isn't a sign, what is? Now it's funny because I don't think I called you straight away. And the interesting thing, you'd mentioned Pampered Chef. What I do remember you for then is I remember then that you were a really good proofreader of everything. So I knew that I don't know, I can't remember how I knew this, but I did know that you had this background in proofreading. And I just took that as a sign. I thought, look, I know Penny. She's started a business. The fact that I've seen this on this very day is to me, it was like serendipity that it had to be done. So I think I waited a little bit before I called you, but you were always on the back of my mind. I kept thinking, do you know, I have to speak to Penny, have to speak to Penny, and in the end, I just thought, right, just do it, and that's how I called you.
Wow, okay. So yeah, so I've always so my dad was in print when I was growing up, and he gave me a real passion for words, a love for words and for reading. I'm a pretty prolific reader, and I've also been a writer all my life, really. I started in school, always kept journals and diaries and things, and then went on to write stories and so on and so forth. And I've done some writing for magazines and stuff. And then in lockdown, I was working as a life coach for Corner House Coaching, and a friend of mine was producing some multi-author books, and I started doing the editing because people have always been aware that I edit and I'm good with words. So I started helping Leanne with the books, and I think we did, I don't know, over 10 books. Then there were multi-author books, and a lot of the ladies that were writing the chapters in these books had not written before. So the editing turned into a bit of coaching as well. And so that's how Corner House Words was born. So, and I also contributed some chapters to those books as well. So that's how Corner House Words got started. That's why Corner House Coaching morphed into Corner House Words. So
Right,
yeah, so,
definitely the right time for me.
yeah. So okay, so there we go. This is a proof copy of Judy's book. So we have a few little amendments to make, but we'll be ready to go. We're hoping to publish in full next week, aren't we? So
The 8th
both
of January, yeah.
yeah. So tell us about how the book was born and what it's about, what you intended to do.
So I've been in direct sales. I was in direct sales for about 20 years, and I coached and trained a lot of people to develop their own businesses. But I also became a bit of a life coach to people. And along the way, when I used to do my trainings and used to tell little stories about how I'd achieved some of my personal milestones or achievements, and I used to tell these little stories, and every now and again, people would say to me, "You need to put that in a book. You need to put that in a book," because they love the way that I would train these things in and make it personal. So that was one of the things. And I got into personal development books myself in my early days of direct sales. It's interesting because first of all, I was a little bit anti them. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna do it my way, which turned out to be the wrong way. And then I started to look at all these people who were successful then in the industry, and they were all the people that studied personal development books. And one of my first ones that I read, it was called Being Happy by Andrew Matthews. And it absolutely turned my life around, not just my business, but just the whole way I looked at life. And over the years, I've tried to get people into reading personal development books. So I wrote this book for me, age 37, really, for the type of woman, mainly aimed at women, for the book I wish I'd have had. It was an easy read. So I've written it as a handbook for life. It's all the wisdom that I've developed over my 60 odd years and all the things that I learned in some of the three different, I've had different businesses. So I started my career as a hairdresser. And because that was a people business, I learned a lot about people in that business, which helped me in my direct sales role.
Yeah.
Then, as in direct sales, I went on to discover coaching. So I became more of a coach and a mentor in that business. So there's a lot of the things I learned from other coaches and mentors, but also my own experiences. And then I went on to run a structural steel painting business with my husband and another business partner. And I learned lots of things there that I didn't expect to learn as well. So I've put in all my personal experiences, and also I'm a big observer of people. I love people watching. So it's very, there's a lot of my observations that come out in the book as well. There's a lot of my personal stories of things that have happened in my life as well. So I just feel that I look around at people, and especially the younger generation, and I feel quite sad that there's a lot of people who don't believe in themselves and they don't reach their full potential because they don't believe they can do it.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, Pampered Chef was my first introduction to personal development, really. I mean, I had, at the time, I was working as a European IT manager. I was, I had a career, but I'd never really done books on, and there had books that come into my I'd seen books, but I'd never really embraced it like I did when I came to Pamper Chef. And I'm laughing because as we've gone through this process, so many of the self-development books that are on my shelf are on your shelf as well, and many of the ones you quote in the book, we've got a nice reading list in there. But I feel really privileged to have done this because it's actually changed me as I've been editing it, which has been really funny. And obviously we've had some amazing discussions as we've gone through the book as well, I think you had about 10,000 words done, didn't you, when we first started talking? And the book is a little over 40,000 words, so there was a lot of development in there. But it's funny. I love the stories. I feel like I've got to know your husband really well from your stories in here. There's even some sad bits in it, and how you've dealt with them. So it really it's a beautiful read, I think. And to get this copy today and like be actually holding the physical book in my hand is amazing, So well done. I think you should be really proud of it. And it is funny. I mean, just the title, Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. And how often do we dish out advice to people but totally disregard it ourselves and don't do the things we know we should be doing? So
well, that is how the title came about, because I can remember sitting on the beach. This is probably around sort of 2006, sitting on the beach. Went on holiday with my friend and we're sitting on the beach, and I'm sitting here and I'm like giving her all this advice. Then I suddenly sort of this realization hit that actually I'm giving her advice, I should be taking it myself. And that's hence why I started using the phrase, take my advice, I'm not using it. And it became sort of a thing that people, they recognize me for saying. I can't think of the right words. It was synonymous with me. Take my advice, I'm not using it.
Do as I say, don't do as I do.
Yes, exactly that. But as I say, when I met you, I had written 10,000 words, but I wish, if I was to give any advice, I don't know, you might be going to ask me this question, but if I was to give any advice, I would say find Penny sooner, because you gave me a structure to write to. So it would have been, I would have found those 10,000 words a lot easier if I'd have found you first. I think I had
Yeah,
to pull out quite a lot from the book because I hadn't put any structure into it. I hadn't given the chapters any thought. I
yeah,
literally was brain dumping all my thoughts, which
yeah,
is great at the time because I think it just got me into the writing habit. Because unlike Penny, I think I did keep diaries, at some point when I was a child. But, I struggled, hence this is another reason why I've come to Penny, because I'm not very good at spelling. I wasn't very good at grammar. And if it hadn't have been for the invention of personal computers, I probably wouldn't be sitting here writing this now, because I
yeah,
wasn't somebody who liked to write things.
yeah, yeah. No, I know. Yeah, writing is, for me, I just think it's a wonderful thing for anybody to do, and I truly believe that everybody has a book in them. It might be just for them, it might just be for their family, it might be for the whole world. I just believe that everybody should write a book, really. But writing doesn't always come easy, but that's the whole point of having a writing coach or and an editor, because obviously they can smooth out the bumps, and I think this has been a real beautiful collaboration between the two of us, and like I said, I've thoroughly enjoyed working on the book.
And me, I've enjoyed, I'm so grateful to you for what you've done, because there's so many things that I wouldn't have considered. And you've taken me, there's no way I would have ever got this to publication without you, because I was completely clueless. And I'm one of those people that I don't like to worry about things like that. So you've taken all the strain and the pain
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that.
It's good to be. I need to give some audience. I need to give Julie some credit too, because we've both actually faced some horrendous life hurdles over the last 3 years. It
We
doesn't
certainly
need to
have.
take 3 years to write a book, but we did have some hiatuses, didn't we? I was very ill for a little while. You've had bereavement and other challenges going on in your life, most of which are in the book.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Find out all about those.
yeah. But then that's how we learn, isn't it, from our life experiences? So it's been there's been a lot of challenges along the way, but I think the process of writing the book has actually helped both of us as well, which is what I often find when I'm working with authors. So that's really cool. But it doesn't have to take that long to do it. You can
No,
write it
no,
in
it's, I
3 years.
mean, I think that when I had a particularly sort of bad period of time that went on, and I nearly did abandon the book at some point. I really got to that point where I thought, I'm just not going to do this. I don't want to, I was just not in the right headspace. And if it wasn't for you and my friend Cindy, who you both picked on me on the same week, like you said to me, you really do need to get this book out there. I've looked at it again, and you really have got something to say. And if you hadn't have done that, I don't know if I would have carried on with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad you did. I'm really glad you did persevere. So
Yeah.
it's a very cool book. Yeah. And also I've learned a lot. It's been the first one that I've done from the start to finish, and I've done everything. I've done the formatting, I did the cover, I've done all those things as well. So thank you for being my guinea pig and allowing me to take you through the whole process and having faith in me to complete that. So yeah, so it's been a really joyous experience.
It
So,
certainly has. I can concur with that. It certainly has been. And I
yeah.
think I've loved our chats and all of that.
Yeah.
I think we have to start thinking about book two now, don't
Book
we?
two. I was just thinking that. Yeah, I was thinking that.
There will be.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to say about the book?
I cover lots of. There's lots of different topics. It is a real dip in and out book. That's the thing.
I like that because you can sit and read it in one hit, or you can dip in and out of it. So you can think, oh yeah, I need some advice about finding mentors. And who do I choose to guide me? And you've got a chapter on that. So there's the one I found particularly helpful was the money chapter because it reminds me of all the things that I should be doing and wasn't doing. So yeah, so that's really good.
and I think that's it. Different chapters will speak to different people. That's a
Yeah,
good thing about it. People will.
yeah,
I'm quite. It's funny you should mention the money, because I did do a little. I've done a little credit card form, to do a little plug here. I've done a little credit card form because to help people clear their credit cards. And
Yeah, yeah.
interestingly, I just watched a program on Channel 5 and they said everything the same as I said. So if you have watched that program, this form will help you with that. Um,
One of my favourite chapters is the one that you didn't intend to be in there, the rule book roulette. And I'm just going to leave that there. People need to read it because it's brilliant. And it really, it's real life advice in there because it really makes you realise, when you're dealing with people, how, what you need to bear in mind. So we'll just leave that as a little tease for people. We won't
yeah,
tell them what it's about. So
but it is my
that's
style.
cool.
Is I think if I was to finish to say that I've written it, it's all very short and sweet. It's very much like me, which is very direct, very to the
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
It gives you a bit of a laugh along the way.
yeah,
Some of it is tongue in cheek, but yeah, it's
yeah.
meant to be a fun read, but it is sound advice as well.
Yeah. And on the back of this book, you're going to be setting up your coaching practice, aren't you?
I
So,
am, yes, that's still in formation of how that's going to look. But I do, yeah, I do. I particularly enjoy personally coaching people on a one-to-one.
yeah,
I've always
yeah,
enjoyed that, and
yeah,
I do. I have got results as well for them.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So I will post all your details, my details and your details will be in the blurb with the video as well if people want to get in touch with you or me. So that'll be cool. And yeah, so right, I just need one more thing from you, really. What advice have you got for anyone who might be thinking they might like to write a book or has already started one? What's your top tip?
I think we'll definitely come to Penny, get a book coach. Well, because I think it just you've got advice for people that they don't even know they need yet.
Mm,
That's the thing. I mean, if anyone was going to write a book, I would say just as Abraham Hicks, just write a book because, like you said, everybody has got a book in you. And when I decided to do this, when I decided to write the book, I didn't really care about who was going to read it.
yeah,
All I cared about was I just needed to get it out of my head
yeah,
because it was just one of those things, when you've got a job that you need to do and
mm,
it just keeps on going round and round in your head all the time. And the more you
yeah,
think about it, the tighter it makes you because you're not doing. And writing a book for me was one of those. I kept on thinking, I must write the book. I must write the book. I must write
yeah,
the book. So
yeah,
once I did it, then it just released all that.
yeah.
I
Very
would say
cool.
do it, but you definitely, I was no I could have done this without you.
Cool. Well,
Thank
thank
you,
you
and
very
I
much
am
for that.
really grateful. I really am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, lovely to talk to you today. I can't wait. I'm going to go away and make those few changes we need to make to the proof, and then the book will be on release really soon. So, in fact, probably by the time we release this video, the book will be out there for sale, and I'll put the link to order the book underneath the video as well. So, cool. Well,
Thank
thank you, Judy, so much. Thank you for talking to me today. I've just so enjoyed our collaboration, and yeah, I'm looking forward to book two.
Thank you. I have, yeah.
Okay.
Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.